Hi, Phyllis here from southernfrugal.com. Today for lunch we're going to have some puffed pastry, and I'm going to fill it with sort of a creamed, we'll call it creamed ham filling with some vegetables and everything. But the first thing we need to do is get the puffed pastry cut out and baked. So here goes. Now I'm going to get my puffed pastry out of the refrigerator, at least one of the packs. And this is what I used, just regular Pepperidge Farm puff pastry, and it contains two. So I'm going to use both of them, but I want to leave the other one in the refrigerator until I get this one situated. So now you want to unroll it. Now I thawed it out and in the refrigerator, and now we want to just kind of patch up places where it made the fold. And all you have to do that is just get a little bit of water, and I just get my fingertips wet and kind of go over that a little bit. Or you don't even have to do that at all. It wouldn't hurt a thing. Now I'm going to roll it out just a little bit more. And what I want to do is be able to get 6 muffin tin size little crust out of this. And I don't have the proper cutter, so I'm just using a glass, and this is about, I don't know, let me measure it for you. Yeah, I always keep this in my kitchen. Alright, so that measures 3 3/4 inches across, this little glass, and I think that's going to be about right. I'm going to try my best to get 6 out of this. So first thing I want to do is just, make an indentation there and cut them out by just mashing down and then turning the glass. And just pull it out of there. Just mash it down all around and then turn it. You should be able to get it out that way. Squiggling it around. Alright, so that's 3. Let's see if I can get one up here like this. Well, I want to go like this. Alright, that's 4. Now, I need 2 more, so I'm just going to put this together. Just going to pinch it together. Still really cold, and you do have to work fast with this. Just pinch it all together. Because, there's a lot of butter, or I don't know what they use. They might use some type of margarine or shortening, but it's got a lot of grease in these puffed pastries. Alright, now let's just roll that out. Just a little bit of water, not much, just what would be on your fingertips. Get it all back together. One more flour, and then roll it out. And you just want to make sure you don't have any holes in it, if you can help it. Alright, that ought to do it. Alright, so we'll cut the next 2 out. Okay, one more out. Won't be a perfect one, but it'll be good enough. That flour off. Alright, now I'm going to put this back in the refrigerator with the others. Let me just roll this one out a little bit better. And this one too, because I don't want any holes in it. patch it up because I see two little holes. It's pretty easy to patch up. And once they're baked, you know, you won't know the difference really. All right, so now what I'm going to do is just gently put this over this way. There we go. I've got 7 here, so I'm going to put, let's put this one back in the refrigerator. And these 6 I'm going to position in the little muffin tin, so hold on a minute. Alright, now I'm just going to lightly brush these with an egg mixture, which is just 1 egg and 1 tablespoon of water. So we're just lightly brushing. It's much easier to brush them when they're laying out flat than it is when they're in the little muffin tins. And this will make them get really nice and brown. Now I've got my oven preheated to 400 degrees. And we're going to let these bake in the oven for about 15 minutes. That ought to do it. Now you can buy those little cups of puff pastry already made, but they're much smaller than what I want. Alright, now all we're going to do is position them in the muffin tin. Now I've sprayed this with a little bit of oil because I definitely don't want them to stick. And now just lightly push them in. Just do it real easy and try to get them even in there. And I'm going to make 12 of these. And that's going to be our lunch today, and we'll probably have the remainder for supper tonight. They don't have to be perfect now, because I like mine puff pastry just crispy and whatever, you know. This one up a little bit. All right, now we're going to go ahead and fix the next little sheet, and that will make up the other 6. And when I get that ready, we'll be back. All right, because I don't want to waste any of the puff pastry. This is what was left, and all I'm going to do, I've rolled it all out together, and I'm just going to brush it with some of the egg mixture. I'm going to put it in a little pan and bake it right along with my shells over here. Because I don't like to waste any of this. I just really do think it's that good. Alright, so they're going to go right into a little cake pan. Bake at the same time the rest of them bake. Alright, so again, 400 degrees for about 15 minutes until they're puffed way up and they're slightly browned. Get those all in there. And by the way, it's hard to find the puff pastry sheets. I went to, they didn't have them in Walmart. They didn't have them in Bilo, and I finally had to go to Food Line, and I found them. So a lot of people are just buying those little, you know, the little shells. They're only about that big around, which I don't think are big enough if you're going to have a meal, you know. If you're going to have hors d'oeuvres, I guess that would work, but for a little snack. All right, so we're going to put these in the oven, and we're going to be right back, and I'm going to show you how to fix the filling. Alright, we are back and ready to make the sauce, or the filling really, for the puff pastries. So this is 3 tablespoons of butter melted, and I'm going to add to that 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. And I'm going to actually be making what's really a white sauce. And then I'm going to add the vegetables and meat to that. Alright, so 3 tablespoons of butter and 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Alright. And we're just going to let that flour cook for just a little while. And I've got my burner just a little above medium-low. this is 2 cups of whole milk, and it's been sitting out a while, so it's not real cold. That would be best. All right, to this flour mixture, while it's cooking a little bit here, I'm just going to put in a couple of dashes of onion powder and a couple of dashes of garlic powder. And I will say a little tarragon. I like tarragon. If y'all don't like it, you could leave it out, or you could put in dill weed or whatever you would choose. Now, for one more thing, we're going to put in a little dash of nutmeg, just a little dash. And we're doing that because this is going to be a cream sauce with the ham in it. And okay, it smells absolutely divine. So all we're doing is letting this flour cook for just a little while. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and add in about a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, the kind with the Chardonnay in it, but you could use any kind. It's about a tablespoon. Stir that all around. And now it really smells good. Alright, now I'm going to cut my burner down to low. And while I'm whisking, I'm going to add in 2 cups of milk. Now you don't want this milk to boil. You just want it to come up barely to a simmer. And if it gets too thick, you can add a little more milk to thin it out. I'm going to take a spoon and scrape around the edges. Get all that flour up. And this will thicken as it heats up. Alright, so while we're waiting for that to heat up, we're going to get the other ingredients ready for the puff pastry. Alright, so I've already boiled, this is 3 medium-sized red potatoes and a couple of really small carrots. So I've already took maybe 15 minutes for those to cook or less. And I did cook them in a little salted water. And also, I cooked some broccoli spears in the microwave for about 5 minutes. Now the directions say cook it 5 to 7 minutes, but I didn't want it like super falling apart. So I cooked the whole pack in the microwave. And all I'm going to do with that is just cut it up into some pieces with my knife. Stalks and all, because it's going to cook a little bit more once I add it to the sauce. But I do want recognizable pieces in it. I don't want this to, come all apart in the sauce. That's why I didn't cook it for quite as long as the directions call for. So just really bite-sized pieces. Alright, now we're going to set that aside. Stir the sauce. Oh, sorry, y'all couldn't even see any of that, could you? Alright, sorry. There it is, kind of cut up in bite-sized pieces. I'm sorry. Alright, so now I'm in a hurry because I know Mr. Bucky's going to be back from his little errands this morning. Well, really this afternoon now, and I want to have this ready by the time he gets back. Alright, you want to use your whisk and just, stir your sauce every once in a while. And remember to not let it come to a boil because the milk might curdle if you do that. So just kind of, keep a watch on it. Alright, so now we're ready to slice up the ham. Now, I just buy this Great Value smoked ham. I really like it, and I get the great big pack because we eat it pretty good. So I'm going to take out what would be probably about 3/4 of a pound of the ham. And I'm just going to cut that up into, well, let me turn the camera down, y'all. Sorry, I keep forgetting to turn the camera down. I'm just going to cut it up into some squares. I can smell my puff pastry. And then once I add this to the sauce, I'll kind of, separate some of those pieces. But anyway, that's probably 3/4 of a pound of just cooked ham. All right. So now my sauce is beginning to get a little thicker. You want to just keep watching it. Now, it'll smell like something really fancy, I think, but it's really not. It's pretty easy to make. So, and if you don't like tarragon, dill weed would also work, or whatever you like. Parsley would work, really. So we're just going to let this thicken up, and we're going to take the puff pastries out of the oven just as soon as they get done. So we'll be right back. Okay, my sauce has thickened up a lot. So what I'm going to do is add about another 1/4 cup of whole milk to that. And a while ago I forgot to add salt, so you need a good teaspoon of salt in that sauce. Even though the ham's going to be salty, you still going to need to put some salt in it. And I do like my sauces thin, so I'm going to add another 1/4 of a cup of milk. Alright, now that's about the thickness that I like it right there, just only slightly thick. Alright, so now we've got it on medium. I'm going to go ahead and put in the potatoes and the carrots. And remember, they're already cooked. And I'm going to also go ahead and put in the ham. Now I'm just going to kind of separate some of these pieces as I put it in. And, I mean, if it needs to be thinned out again, I'll actually add even more milk. But I think this is good enough right here. Now you'd also probably want to add some cracked pepper to it. I'm allergic to black pepper, so we don't even have it in the house. I mean, I'm bad allergic, causes my throat to swell, so I have trouble breathing. So we don't have black pepper even in the house. Alright, so I'm just leaving some of those little pieces together. Alright, so now let's see what this looks like. Alright, now this is the consistency that I like. Let me show you. See, it's just thickened. I don't like it real thick. So it's really just a white sauce. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and put in my broccoli. There's a stalk that didn't get cut up. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and put in the florets and the stalks. And they'll just slightly finish cooking in the sauce. Now again, you don't want your sauce to boil. You just want to have it at a slow, low heat. Mix it all in. Alright, now when my puff pastries get done, I'm going to sit them out on a rack to cool. And in the meantime, I'm going to be fixing some just what my grandmother calls stewed apples. In other words, it's just cooked apples with a little butter, sugar, cinnamon, a little salt. And I'm going to serve that alongside this over the puffed pastries. Alright, so we'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, everything is ready. The puff pastry, of course, has been done, and the filling is done, and I've also fixed the apples. And Mr. Bucky's getting the bumper painted on the car some, I don't know. Anyway, he's also going to walk in the mall, so he's going to be a little later, but I'm going to go ahead and eat because this smells really good. All right, I'm going to show you how I serve this. I just break open a couple of these little puff pastries, and I go ahead and, why don't I just do 3? That'll be good. I make them like that so there'll be a crust all the way around, but you can easily just make them in squares. And then all I do is just dip this over them. So you got the broccoli in there, the carrots, the ham, the potatoes. And this sauce you can also use with chicken, turkey, or whatever. I think it works really well with leftover ham after Christmas. Right? And I also fix some of the Honeycrisp apples. I just cut them in kind of big slices. A little bit of the juice over them. And I'm also going to have me some of the little bitty squares of puff pastry because I absolutely love it. All right, there's what my plate looks like. Can y'all see that? It is so, so good. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and eat, and Mr. Bucky will be eating whenever he gets here. You can keep this warm on the stove for quite a while. Uh-oh, I just see him. I can see out the window. I'm going to go ahead and do his plate too because I just saw him pull up. All right, so we will see y'all next time. This is just the sauce. You can use turkey, you can use chicken, ham, meatballs even in this sauce. I really think it's so, so good. It's just basically a white sauce with some spices in it. And if you don't like tarragon leaves, then you can use dill or whatever you like, parsley, whatever, but this is what makes it so good. This is the same spice that they put in Béarnaise sauce, which I love. Some people don't like it, but I love it. All right, so we will see y'all next time. I'm going to dish up Mr. Bucky's plate real quick.